Hello everyone, and welcome to this Christmas special. Unfortunately, it isn't very Christmassy, as it's very difficult to make F1 Christmassy, but it is very special. Now, I'm sure you've already gathered by the title that it's a ultimate track guide. Now, that's going to be 20 laps on 20 different tracks using every single one of the cars back to back. When I say back to back, I really do mean it. As soon as we finish one lap, we're going to go straight on into the next lap, and I am going to do it all in one take. So let's see if I can remember what every track is, where I should be braking on every track, what gear I should be in, etc. So let's see if I can do it. I'm also going to use all 12 cars, so I'm going to cycle through the cars as they are in the game. So start with Red Bull, then go to McLaren, then Ferrari, then Mercedes, etc, etc, cycling through all of the cars. So here we go then, starting in Melbourne in Australia with the Red Bull. So we're off then, coming down this pit straight, and here we go, the lap's begun. So DRS is wide open, maxing out 7th gear, braking just on the 100 metre board on the left hand side there, trying to cut the curb nicely, did it reasonably well, getting on DRS as early as we can, all the way on the DRS, all the way for that second corner. Didn't use any curls on this particular lap down this straight, and braking bang on the TV sign there on the left hand side. I believe actually it's a coloured sign to tell you what sort of flag's out. So a little bit of throttle in between those corners, and then just backing off once again to get through them, and DRS all the way open through that last corner. So coming to the end of the first sector now, braking down on just after the 100 metre board, and once again trying to clip all the curbs, getting DRS open as soon as we've reached the curve on the outside there. Should mention it's not going to be a fast lap, none of these are, but braking now at the 100 metre board on the left hand side, once again clipping the curb, running out as wide as we can, DRS open as soon as we reach the outside curb once again. Using a squirter curve then as we get a little bit of run down the next corner. So as I said, not going for a fastest lap on any of these, it's just going to be a half decent lap, and the point is to do it all in one big run. So braking down into 5th gear then, trying to just about nail both of those curbs. You ideally want the outside wheel just to be touching the inside curb then, once again getting the DRS open as soon as we left that second corner. Braking just as the camera reaches the right hand side on the Qantas board there, running out very wide on the curb once again with DRS open as early as we can, braking down into 4th gear, trying to keep it on the inside curb as long as you can, and then let it go out to the outside curb. So braking down there now into 2nd gear, getting the DRS open as early as we can, shutting the DRS for this final corner as it is a bit risky to leave it open, opening DRS once again and using the remainder of our curves to finish this lap. So there we go, flipping straight onto McLaren, and it's Malaysia next I believe. So coming down now into the first corner, braking just after the 100 metre board there, right down into 2nd gear, trying to keep a nice tight line into the first corner, which I have done. Full throttle in between the corners with another little tap on the brakes to just clip that curb on the left, running out as wide as you can. You want to be right next to the curb, just as I've done there. So DRS is open once again, all the way with the run down, using a little bit of curves before this next corner, braking bang on the 100 metre board there, right down into 2nd gear, try and clip that curb a little bit more than I did there, get on full throttle as early as you can, DRS open once again. So 2 cents down there, so keeping DRS open as long as you can. Do shut it mid-corner as it is a bit risky to keep it open. You can keep it open if you're particularly careful, but it's very risky, so I shut it on that particular occasion. DRS open once again, braking just before you reach the Alliance board on the left hand side there, and keeping it full throttle all the way through the next set of corners, so DRS open once again. Braking just to reach the 100 metre board on the right hand side there, right down into 1st gear. It's a very tight corner on this one, be very careful on the throttle on the exit as the track is not quite even. Keeping the DRS open all the way around this next corner if you can, braking down into 3rd gear, but very careful on the braking as you are still turning as you're braking. Clip the curb on the inside there with DRS open once again. If you can, keep the DRS open on that corner, but I shut it once again to do with risk. I didn't want to mess up this lap. So braking down once again, right into 2nd gear again, be very careful with the brakes there as you are still turning while you're braking, but try and straighten the car as much as you can under braking, clipping the curb and opening the DRS once again for this long run down to the final corner. Braking just as the track bends there, sorry, it's a bit difficult to describe. Trying to clip the curb on the inside, just as I've done there, run it right out as wide as you can. Could have taken a bit more speed there in the corner, but I didn't manage to get the DRS open once again as early as you can. So flipping now to Ferrari in China, Shanghai. So opening the DRS, then all the way down this pit straight, braking just as you start turning in, down into 4th gear. Just little taps on the throttle, also little taps on the brake. Try really to stay off the throttle, just slowing it right down to 2nd gear to clip the inside curb nicely. A little bit of throttle between the corners and just backing off once again to clip the inside curb. Opening the DRS once again then, using a little bit of curves to get us down to the next corner, full throttle all the way right up to 100 metre on the left hand side, slamming on the brakes, going right down into 1st gear, trying to lock your inside wheel like I did there. You can hit that curve a bit more than I did as well. You can actually bounce over a little bit. So coming out the corner then, DRS wide open once again, bit more curves to help you up the hill. Try and keep your DRS open for as long as you can there, but do shut it mid-corner, opening it again between the corners, braking down into 4th gear. You want to keep a nice tight line so you can line yourself up ready for this next corner, braking down into 2nd gear. Try and clip the curb as I've done there and full throttle all the way through this next corner, get DRS open just after you reach the apex there. So using a little bit more curves to help me out of that corner, braking bang on the 100-meter board on the right hand side there, once again, right down into first gear, but clump over this curb as much as you can, a little bit of throttle between the corners, ease off once again, and then full throttle as early as you can, full throttle all the way around here. Do not open your DRS. I did open it briefly, but I shut it again. Do not open your DRS as it will cause you to spin, but do open it as soon as you feel is possible. So you can usually open it fairly early. Probably could have opened it earlier than I did, but I didn't manage it. So right into the rev limiter then, we're going to be braking bang on the 150-meter board on the left-hand side there, right down into first gear. You want to be clipping the curb as much as you can. Could have clipped it a bit more than that. Full throttle on the exit, opening DRS as early as possible once again. So braking just as you reach the DHL board there above you, and braking down to third gear, trying to clip that curb, but careful not to hit the bollard. DRS once again for the run to the line. Okay, so we're now in Mercedes and Bahrain. So once again, right in the rev limiter. Going to reach the halfway between the 150 and 100 meter board, braking right down into first gear, trying to clip that curb a little bit on the inside, but don't clip it too much, it will unsettle the car. A little bit DRS between the corners, and clipping the curb as much as you can for that second corner, and DRS open as soon as you finish clipping that curb. So coming down, braking on the 100 meter board on the left hand side there, right down into second gear. Careful of the bump, but keep nice and tight as you can get then full throttle as I've done there, and opening DRS nice and early. So right up into sixth gear, then braking down into fourth gear for this quite fast right-hander, trying to keep a good line so you can keep easily full throttle through that left-hander there, keeping DRS open as early as possible. Braking right down into first gear then, once again avoid the curb as much as you can as it's a bit too steep really to play with too much. Opening DRS once again on the exit. This next corner is very, very tricky on the brakes, braking just as you start to turn in, but be very careful on the brakes. Use the gears to slow your car down. So right down to first gear, clip the inside curb, once again open the DRS as soon as you can get full throttle. Full throttle then all the way down this back straight, DRS wide open, braking halfway between the 100 meter and 50 meter boards there, clip the inside curb nicely, let the car run out nice and wide right out to the curb and get the DRS open as soon as you're anywhere near that curb. DRS open and full throttle all the way through this corner, be careful with the steering, it is possible, braking down then as soon as you reach the end of that sector, right down into third gear, try and reach the curb a little bit more than I did there, but it wasn't too bad. Once again, DRS open as soon as you can there, right the way up through the gears. On to this penultimate corner then, braking just to reach the curb on the left hand side, right down into second or third gear, went to third that time, and try and just not quite touch the curb but get very close to it and run it out as wide as you can. DRS open once again for the run to the line, as we now go to Lotus and Catalunya in Spain. So I should mention that I am on standard setups for every single one of these cars, so no tweaks, that's why I'm on the DRS, on the rev limiter so early. So braking at the 100 meter board on the left hand side there, bouncing over the curb on the inside, you better to avoid that really, but it doesn't cost you much time if you do bounce over it. Full throttle through the second corner, DRS open right up to the middle of this corner, shut it for the apex and open it as soon as you pass the apex there, keeping it open right up in the next corner, braking just to reach the UBS board above you there, down into third gear, clip the inside curb nicely, let the car run out as wide as you can, get on the throttle as early as you can, DRS open once again, down into this next corner. Don't really have a braking point for that corner, I just brake as I see the apex approaching, so I base my braking point on where I see the apex, so unfortunately you have to figure that one out for yourself, but do brake just to reach the curb on the right hand side there, down into fourth gear, cut the corner as much as you can, and let it run out reasonably wide, but not too wide as you will get a warning otherwise. Full throttle all the way through this corner, but make sure you shut the DRS, otherwise you will have a rather large spin into that corner. So up through the gears once again, and just touching the rev limiter, braking halfway between the 150 and 100 meter boards, close to the 150 meter board the better really, as it's a very tricky braking area. Right down the second gear, full throttle once again, over that curb, do not have DRS open over that curb as you will definitely spin. So coming out of that corner then, DRS open once again, braking down into fourth gear, let it run out as wide as you can, braking just to reach the Santander board above you there, and a little bit of throttle between those two corners in that chicane, and DRS and full throttle and a bit of curves if you've got any for that final corner. It's very tricky, but you can do it. Force India and Monaco then, straight into the first corner there, no messing about, braking just to reach the advertising board, not sure which one it was, above you there, braking down, very tricky braking point, and just try and clip the apex as much as you can, DRS open as early as you can, DRS right up the hill. So braking just as you start to turn in once again, down into fourth gear, a little bit of throttle and braking once again, just before you turn in for third gear there. Braking just as you reach the end of this first sector there, right down into second gear, try and keep a tight line, could have been a bit tighter than that. Braking, again, I haven't really got a braking point for that one, just where you get close enough to the corner, down into first gear, a little bit of throttle, a little bit of brakes once again to slow us down for that next corner, a little bit of throttle, a little bit of brakes as you reach that sort of bump really on the barrier on the outside there. No DRS in the tunnel, so I saved quite a bit of my curves for the tunnel to compensate. Open the DRS as early as it will let you. Braking bang on the 100 meter board on the right hand side there, right down into second gear, turn it in nicely, cut the corner just enough, get full throttle as soon as you can there, DRS open once again. So right through the gears into sixth, then changing straight down into fifth again. Be very careful on the middle of that corner as there is a bump that will unsettle your car. DRS open right through that fast chicane there. Braking right down into second gear, getting as close to the wall as you can, and close to the bollard as you can, and close to the wall as you can. DRS open once again, braking just as you reach the advertising banner above your head there. A little bit of DRS and a little bit of full throttle between these corners, braking once again right down into first gear to get it full throttle all the way to the line. DRS open, wide open, right to the line as we now flip to Sauber and Montreal in Canada now. So braking halfway between the 100-meter boards and 50-meter boards on the right hand side there, right down into second gear. A little bit of throttle and then once and again another little tap on the brakes for first gear for the second corner. Full throttle on the exit, a little bit of curves and DRS wide open. Halfway between the 100-meter boards and 50-meter boards you want to be braking, and cut the corners as much as you can. DRS wide open then for the run down to this next corner, braking once again halfway between the 100-meter and 50-meter boards there. Clipping the curb nicely, both curbs, and do be very careful. But get the DRS open as early as you can, but do be very careful as the car will want to step out on you, or the back end will rather. Up through the gears once again then, braking just as you reach the bridge above you there, down to third gear, once again clipping the curbs nicely, into third gear, keeping as much speed as you can. It's all about maintaining speed in Montreal. DRS wide open once again, up through the gears, braking just for the 100-meter board on the left hand side there. If you see the 100-meter board and you haven't braked yet, you brake too late. So keeping it right down to first gear, keeping it nice and tight on that hairpin, using the rest of my curves and having DRS wide open for this very, very long back straight. So I'm going to take a little bit of a breather here, slow my talking down a little bit, just as we reach this braking point once again, braking halfway between the 150-meter board and 100-meter board there, clipping the inside curb as much as you can and try not let the backhand step out on you as it did on me there for the run to the line. Up through the gears once again, DRS wide open as we now flip to Toro Rosso and Valencia in Europe. So DRS is obviously already wide open, braking just as you reach 100-meter board there. Do brake a little bit earlier than that really though, as it was a bit risky where I braked. So full throttle then as soon as you've gone past the first corner. Second corner is easy full throttle, bit of DRS between the corners, braking just to reach the advertising banner above you there. And keeping it nice and tight to the wall and just keeping it very tight to the curbs as you can. DRS wide open once again for the run down then to the second sector, braking just before you reach the 100-meter board on your left hand side there, right down into first gear. Cut the curb as much as you can. DRS and curves then. DRS and full throttle, braking just as you reach the advertising banner on the left hand side there, keeping it very tight once again for this long run down to this very long straight. Obviously DRS open as early as you can. Usually using just about half your curves, but I did use a little bit more on this particular lap. Going to be braking just to reach the 150-meter board there on the left hand side, braking right down into second gear, bumping over the curb once again, a little bit of throttle in between and no braking, just easing off the throttle, cutting the curb once again as much as we can. A little bit of DRS between the corners, use the little bit of runoff area on the left hand side there to brake down into second gear. So using the rest of your curves then for this next long straight. DRS is wide open once again, right up through the gears. Going to be braking halfway between the advertising board and the flag screen, I guess. Braking right down into first gear, and getting your wheels over the curb there. Full throttle all the way through the section, playing with the DRS, getting it open as much as you can. You can have the DRS open as I did there through that last section, but it's very difficult, so be very careful there, particularly if you're on a very good lap. So braking then down 2 gears into 5th gear before the turn, ease off the brakes, then slam on the brakes as soon as you straighten the car up once again. Get it right down to first gear, not cut the corner, but touch the curb on the inside there. DRS wide open once again for the run to the line. We're now in Williams at Silverstone in Britain. So it's full throttle through this first corner, just manually shut the DRS, but do keep your foot absolutely nailed on that throttle. So braking then just before you reach the 100-meter board on the left hand side there. Brake right down into second gear and a little bit of throttle, and then right down to first gear for this next corner, which is even tighter. Getting on the throttle as early as you can, DRS open once again and as early as you can. Using about 30% of your curves for this long run down. You can keep your DRS fully open for that next corner, it's not too bad. Braking bang on the 100-meter board then on the left hand side. You'll carry a bit too much speed, but just keep on the brakes lightly as you come into the corner and clip the apex nicely, clipping the curb. Then a little bit of squirt of throttle down into second then. You want to keep a nice tight line through that last corner and run it out as wide as you can. Could have gone a bit wider then, using a bit of a squirt of curves out on the exit and obviously having DRS wide open. Braking halfway between the 100-meter boards and 50-meter boards, just down 1 gear to 6th gear. Keep as much speed as you can through that corner. It's all about maintaining speed and get on the throttle as early as you can, and also DRS as early as you can. Come into the corner, manually shut the DRS before the second corner, turning it in nice and tight. Brake down into 5th gear to get a nice corner there, and brake down into 4th gear once again, always clipping the curb with your inside wheel. DRS open then as soon as you reach just before that last corner there, and using the rest of your curves for this very long straight, this longest one, or the at least highest speed there of this track. Braking just before the 50-meter board on the left hand side there, right down into 4th gear, maintain a lot of speed through that corner and run it out as wide as you can onto the curb. Braking just before the 100-meter board on the right hand side there, right down into 2nd gear, keep it nice and tight to all of these curves, careful not to cut the curb on the right hand side as you will get a warning for it. DRS is wide open once again for this last corner, very tricky to do, but it is possible. As we flip now to Hockenheim in Germany with the Caterham. Braking down then, not sure where I brake there, but down into 5th gear, cutting the corner as much as you can and run it out as wide as you can to maintain as much speed as you possibly can through that first corner. Braking just for the 100-meter board on the left hand side then, right down into 2nd gear. DRS wide open for this next corner and a little bit of curves, probably about half my curves. Yep, just under half my curves, that's right. for this long straight. And once again, I'm using a standard setup, so you'd normally have your rev limiter much higher than this, but there we go, or your gear ratios a lot wrong this. Braking just as you reach the curb on the left hand side there, right down into first gear, clip the curb nicely, run out as wide as you can, try not to touch the outside curb there as it will slow your accelerating slightly, using the rest of your curves then for the run out of that very tight hairpin. DRS wide open all the way to reach this ENI board on the right hand side there, right down into second gear, clip that curb but try not to touch the big lump there on the inside as that will unsettle the car. DRS open once again, shut it in the Caterham release. You can usually keep it open in the faster cars like the McLaren. So into the third sector now, braking down then, just you want to turn in once again down into fifth gear, get on the throttle as early as you can, and DRS also. Again, I haven't really got a braking point for this, I just judge it based on how close I am to the apex. Braking right down into second gear for that very tight corner. Keep it on the inside as much as you can, a bit of DRS in between these two corners. Again, I haven't really got a braking point there. Down into third gear though, a little bit of squirt of throttle and no brakes, but just ease off the throttle there for that final corner into fourth gear. DRS wide open for this run to the line. We're now down to HRT and we are at, where are we? We're at Hungary. I know we're at Hungary. Hungaroring, that's the name of the track. So missed my braking point there, unfortunately, on the inside there, on the outside, sorry. Can't remember which board it is. It's one of the boards that you brake on. Can't quite remember which one it is. Braking on the 50 meter board anyway, on the right hand side there. Braking right down into second gear. Try and keep it a nice tight line and get full throttle as early as you can to run out as wide as possible. Keep DRS wide open then for that next corner. Again, it is a little bit tricky, but it is possible. Just be careful with the steering. So brake just to reach the DHL board on the right hand side there. Down into fifth gear. Try to run it out as wide as you can like I did there. Down into third gear. Try and keep a very tight line and get on the throttle as early as you can to run out nice and widely there onto that curb. DRS wide open once again. Braking just before you reach the 50 meter board on the left hand side there. Down to second gear. Avoid the big lumps on the curbs, but do touch the curbs as much as you can. Down to third gear then. Try and clip that curb on the inside there, which I did miss. Try and clip that curb once again, but try not to go on the grass, as obviously you will build up some grass on your tyres. DRS wide open once again then, braking just as you want to turn in once again there, down to fifth gear ideally, but this HRT has not got a lot of downforce. DRS wide open once again then, braking bang on the 100 meter board on the left hand side there, and bumping over the curb. So coming then out of this corner, DRS wide open once again, braking just as you reach the advertising board above your head there, down into second gear once again, keeping a nice tight line and letting it run out wide with full throttle on the exit. Bit of DRS in between the corners, braking down into third gear, once again keeping a nice tight line until you can go full throttle. DRS wide open then for the run to the line, and we now flip to Marussia at Spa, so in Belgium. Braking just to reach the 100 meter board on the left hand side there, right down into first gear. Still no curves unfortunately, both HRT and Marussia have not got curves this year. DRS wide open as early as you can. It will shut for you as DRS is not allowed no rouge, so don't worry about the DRS, just keep it absolutely full throttle all the way through this corner. Change down if you feel it necessary, if you feel the revs drop too much, but I didn't feel it too badly there, and opening the DRS as soon as it will let you. So getting nicely into the rev limiter then down this very, very long straight. Again, standard setup is being used, braking halfway between the 100 meter board and 50 meter boards on the left hand side there, bumping over the curb a little bit. I did bump over it too much there, keeping nice and tight line on the left hand side there. So a little bit of a tap on the brakes, down then into this right hand corner into fourth gear, braking just to reach the curb on the left hand side there, right down into second gear. Careful not to lock the inside tyre as it's desperately trying to lock on you. Keep a nice tight line once again till you can get full throttle. DRS between these two corners, braking right down into third gear or possibly fourth if you can manage it in the high performance cars is what I'm trying to say. DRS wide open once again then, braking just as you reach the end of the curb on the left hand side there, down into fifth gear, get on the throttle as early as you can, and DRS open easily through this next corner. DRS open once again then, braking just as you reach the Alliance board above you there, right down to third gear, just touching that inside curb, and up into fourth gear for this next corner, again just touching the inside curb if you can. DRS wide open once again, up into fifth, just brake just as you reach that curb on the left hand side there, down to third gear, clipping all of the curbs. You can run out a bit wider than that, that curb doesn't really cost you if you go all up on it. So keeping DRS wide open then for the second corner there. Can be done, not easy once again, be very careful with the steering, but it is possible. 5.8 down on my best there. This Marussia is not very quick, is it? Not that it's a perfect lap anyway. Can't quite keep your DRS open through this corner, but I did manage it. It's very tricky in the higher speed cars. It's more safe to shut it, but you can keep it open if you can just about manage it as I did there. Braking just before the 100 meter board on the left hand side there, right down into first gear, squirt throttle in between the corners, and then keep it as straight as you can for the exit to get best possible traction with a bit of DRS for the run to the line. Back in Red Bull then, and Monza. So high speed then is the important bit. Again, I'm using standard setups though, braking just as you reach the 150 meter board on the left hand side there. It doesn't look like it slowed down, but it will. Right down to first gear, try and bump over these curbs as much as you can and get on full throttle as early as you can on the exit. DRS wide open once again with another squad of curves, using about half your curves out of that first corner. DRS is wide open, as I previously stated, up into 6th and 7th gear, and getting towards the rev limiter, braking just to reach the DHL board above you there, or the bridge, whatever it is. Right down to 2nd gear, bouncing over both of these curbs, full throttle on the exit. You can actually do that corner in 3rd gear if you can manage it. DRS wide open once again. Again, I haven't really got a braking point on this one, just before you want to turn in really is where you want to be braking. Right down to 3rd gear. 4th gear actually probably best for that corner, but I did go down to 3rd, could have done a better corner. Braking just to reach the, I believe it's the 50 meter board on the left hand side there, right down to 3rd gear, bouncing over both curbs if you can. Using most of your curves, you can use all of it for the run out of that corner. DRS wide open, reaching just as you reach that sign thing, the whatever it's called, on the outside corner there. Full throttle all the way through once you've braked, full throttle all the way through the corners and getting your DRS open just after you've reached the final corner, or just after the final corner on the exit really. DRS wide open once again then, braking just as we get to the end of that advertising section really on the outside there. Try and keep a tighter line than I did there, but get your full throttle and DRS open as early as you feel is possible without spinning it. So that's the end of our Red Bull lap then in Monza. Moving on now to McLaren in Singapore. So braking then, just to reach 100 metre board on the left hand side there, try and bounce over both of these curbs, using all of the curbs as you can. Careful not to lock the outside wheel there, as it will want to lock on you. Down into first gear then for that next corner. DRS wide open once again there, up into fifth gear, braking just before you reach the 50 metre on the left hand side there, using all of the track down into third gear. Get on throttle as early as you can on the exit there. DRS is wide open once again, using most of our curves on the exit of that corner for this longest straight on the track. Braking once again just to reach 100 metre board on the right hand side there, down into second gear, try and clip the curb and run it as wide as you can, as I've done there. Actually slightly up a purple sector for me there, could be a PB. So then braking as you reach, I believe it's the 50 metre board on the left hand side there, right down into first gear, bouncing over the curbs. Again braking just before you want to turn in for that corner. It's the second gear corner, try and avoid the curb there as it will unsettle the car a little bit too much. DRS wide open once again then, braking halfway between the 100 metre board and the 50 metre board there, bounce over the curbs nicely but try not to cut any of them. Right down into second gear, try and bounce over that inside curb a little bit more there. I did just about miss my apex. DRS open once again. DRS wide open once again then for braking just at the 50 metre board then for that corner. Be very careful on braking, as you do need to get it right on the apex to get a nice good run for this second longest straight on the track, using the rest of your curves if you've got any left. 100 metre board on the left hand side then is where we're braking, right down into first gear, keeping a nice tight line once again, trying to avoid the inside curb there as it will unsettle the car half a second up on previous. Braking halfway between the 100 metre boards and 50 metre boards, right down into second gear, once again bouncing over the curbs, both of them including this one. Full throttle on the exit then, DRS wide open, braking just to reach the 50 metre board on the left hand side there, right down into first gear, try and avoid that curb, but it sometimes is faster to just clip it on both of those. DRS wide open once again, braking down into second gear, bounce over this curb and this curb. You want to clip them nicely without getting all four wheels over the white line obviously. DRS wide open once again, up into fifth gear, just touch to slip flip down into fourth gear, try and avoid the inside curb as it will unsettle the car as it did with me there. DRS wide open for the run to the line. Now we're on board a Ferrari in Suzuka, Japan then. DRS is wide open for the run down to the first corner. We're going to be braking down just to reach the 50 metre board on the left hand side there, right down to fifth gear. And ease off the brakes and then back on the brakes as soon as you can straighten the car a little bit more down to third gear for that last corner. DRS wide open once again, keeping full throttle for that first corner. Manually adjusting DRS open, braking down to fourth gear for the next corner, a little bit of throttle between, no brakes, just ease off the throttle for the next corner, a little bit of brakes for this corner though, down into third gear, try not to get up the grass on the inside wheel as you will with your outside wheel, yes, that's right, on your inside wheel as you will with the outside wheel for that corner there, and it is, you can do it full throttle, but it's very tricky, so make sure you get a good line. Braking just as you reach the flag board, whatever it is, on the left hand side there, down into fifth gear, and then down into third gear for the next corner. DRS wide open once again then, just brake just as you reach the end of the curb on the right hand side there, right down into first gear, try and keep a very tight line. It is an incredibly tight corner, that much tighter than it seems as you enter it. DRS wide open and full throttle as early as you can on the exit there, using about half my curves on the exit. And for the nice long run then, down to this corner. Once again, haven't really got a braking point, but it's down into fourth gear, trying to clip the inside curb a bit more, but you can run it out quite wide as I did there. A little bit of brakes for down into third gear, try and keep a nice tight line so you can get on full throttle nice and early and get the DRS open and use all of your curves for this very long straight. DRS is wide open once again then, right up into seventh gear. We should just reach the red line before this corner. You should shut your DRS for this corner as you will likely spin. It's possible to do it open, but it's very tricky. Braking just before you reach the 100 metre wall on the left hand side there, right down to second gear. Couldn't decide when to turn in then, but you need to be clipping both curbs as I did there. DRS wide open for this last corner. It is very tricky to keep your DRS open as the back end will want to step out on you, but it is possible. Now we're on board a Mercedes for Yeongam in Korea, braking just as you reach the curb, or just before really on the right hand side there, right down into second gear and get on throttle as early as you can for the exit there, get two wheels over that white line, but once again making sure you don't get all four wheels over it. Using half of your curves then for the run down this very long straight. DRS is wide open once again as I take a little bit of a breather here from my fast speaking. Starting again now, the braking just as you really can see the apex there. It's a bit of a difficult braking point because there isn't really boards, but I brake just so I can see the apex. Braking right down into second gear, trying not to clip the inside curb as it is a bit big. Try and also avoid the outside curb as it will unsettle the car. Using the rest of the curves then, DRS wide open. Braking just as you reach the 100 metre board on the inside curb there, right down to second gear. Once again, avoid the inside curb and the outside curb. DRS wide open then for the next corner. Braking right down to first gear for that corner, a little bit of squirt of throttle, don't bother with DRS, then try and avoid the inside curb once again, but I did just touch it there. Try and avoid the outside curb as I did touch that as well. DRS wide open then, keep it open all the way through this first corner, very tricky to do, but do shut it for this next corner as you will spin fantastically. Braking right down to fourth gear then, touching the inside curb, could have run a little bit wide, but it's serve me well, as I've got a good line now for this next corner, right down into first gear then, once again avoiding the inside curb as it will unsettle the car. DRS wide open until you touch the brakes then to slow your car down just a little bit into fourth gear or so for that first corner, down into third for the second corner. Still third gear for this next corner. Don't get any don't get any grass on your inside wheel, as you will need your outside wheel for that next corner. So braking then down into third gear for this next corner, running it as wide as you can, down into first gear. I did miss my apex there. You want to still avoid the curb though. Bounce over this curb if you can, if you feel it necessary. I didn't feel it necessary, as this Mercedes has got enough downforce that I could avoid the curb. DRS wide open through that last corner, very tricky, but it is possible once again. So as we now move on to Lotus, and we are where we were in India, I believe this is. Braking just to reach the 100 meter wall on the left hand side there, clipping the curb nicely, and full throttle on the exit. You can run a bit wider than I did there. DRS wide open once again for the run down to this next corner, braking around about halfway between the 100 meter boards and 50 meter board on the left hand side there. Very tricky corner, try not to slow your brakes, try and get a good line through there. DRS is wide open once again. We're going to use most of our curves, probably about 60% of our curves for this very, very long straight here. Once again, I'm using a standard setup, so I won't believe reach the rev limiter. Not quite, no. Braking just as you reach the 150 meter board on the left hand side there. Very wide track, and it does very much tighten up on the apex there, so just making sure you get a good line. It is very bumpy on the apex, so be careful not to lose the rear end. Using the rest of your curves then, and DRS, braking about halfway along that curb on the right hand side there, down into fourth gear. A little bit of throttle between the corners. Be very careful not to cut that next corner, as it's very, very tricky with not a lot of curb and a lot of grass there to play with. And that was the third gear corner. That next corner, just shut your DRS, don't brake. Very scary, but don't brake. Don't throttle though, just come off the throttle for that corner, and you can manage it just about. Careful not to run too wide. Braking down then for this next long corner down to fourth gear. Bit of throttle in the middle, then braking, just tapping on the brake once again down into fourth gear. This next corner, DRS open right the way up to it, come down into fourth or fifth gear really, and then keeping it full throttle as soon as you've reached that first apex. Braking just as you reach the 50 meter board on the left hand side there, keeping it very tight once again for the run down to line. Braking just as you reach the curb on the right hand side there, right down to second gear. Just touch that inside curb if you can, then run out as wide as possible for the DRS run to the line. As we're now in Force India, and we're at Abu Dhabi, so braking just at 100 meter on the right hand side there, third or second gear corner depending how you're feeling on the day. DRS is wide open then once again, keep it full throttle, absolutely full throttle, and use as much DRS as you feel is possible, but make sure not to lose your rear end. It's possible to keep DRS open all the way through there in something like a McLaren, but not in a Force India. Braking just before you reach 100 meter on the right hand side there, bouncing over the inside curb, bouncing over all the curbs there, but try not to let it unsettle the rear too much. We're going out very, very wide then in first gear to get a nice good line for this very long straight then. First of two very long straights in Abu Dhabi. Using about half of our curves, saving the other half for the next straight. DRS is wide open once again. Up through the gears into 7th gear. Out of breath a bit now for all that talking, but we're going to now brake bang on the 150 meter board rather, on the right hand side there, right down into 2nd gear, bouncing over the curb. I did go to 1st gear then. Avoid that inside curb like it's the plague on the inside there, as it will completely unsettle the rear. So DRS is wide open once again then for the exit. Coming up through the gears then, right up into 7th gear. We're going to brake halfway between the 150 and 100 meter boards on the right hand side there, as the camera gets to it anyway, or as your view gets to it on T-Cam. Braking right down into 2nd gear, bouncing off all them curbs, running as wide as you can, DRS wide open. Once again, a little bit of brakes to get down into that corner, but you've got to avoid that bollard on the inside there. DRS is wide open for the first part of this corner. We're going to be braking just before we reach the apex of that second corner. Don't bother managing DRS, it will shut itself as you brake. Bouncing over the curb once again, bit of full throttle between the corners. You can use a squirt of DRS there, but I didn't. Cutting the corner, well, not really cutting it, but bouncing over the curbs nicely. Don't cut it too much, as you will get a penalty, but you can cut it ever so slightly. DRS wide open once again then. Braking just after we reach the curb on the left hand side there. Braking right down to 3rd gear once again, bouncing over all the curbs. Right down into 2nd gear for this next corner, keeping a nice tight line and getting full throttle as early as you can. DRS is wide open for the run to the line. We are now in Sauber in USA, the Circuit of Americas. So braking halfway between 150 meter board and 100 meter board on the right hand side there in a Sauber. It's possible to brake 100 meter board in a McLaren. Keeping a nice tight line then onto the curb, keeping DRS wide open for that second corner. So DRS is wide open all the way till we brake for this corner, down into 5th gear, keeping a nice tight line so we can get easily full throttle for this corner. Backing off a little bit so we can keep a nice tight line to get a good line for this next corner. I did miss my apex there, but you should be just clipping the curb with the inside line there, down into 3rd gear for this next corner. Full throttle then through this corner, careful not to cut it though, as you will get a warning. DRS is wide open on the exit, so braking then, we're going to be braking half between the 150 meter and 100 meter boards then. Just clipping the inside curb, could have clipped it a bit more really, but again on throttle as you can on the exit. The rear end did try to step out me as I was correcting it just a little bit. Using half of our curves then for the exit last corner. Once again on the rev limiter very early, as I am using a fully standard setup, braking bang on the 150 meter board on the right hand side there, right down into second gear, once again clipping the curb, could have clipped it a bit more, got once again a bit of oversteer on the exit there, DRS is wide open, braking down then into second gear for this next corner, clipping the curb nicely, get DRS open as early as you can. I got it open a bit early there, back end stepped out on me, but managed to correct it and didn't have to go on throttle or the DRS, right down to first gear then, make sure you clip that curb nicely and run it out nice and wide with the DRS open. Keep the DRS open through this first part of this corner, shut it just as you reach the apex of that corner. I had to shut it ever so slightly early as the back end started stepping out on me. Open it once again then as soon as you pass that apex, down into fourth gear, try and clip the apex a bit more than I did there, but do not run out wide there, as you will get a warning if you put even four wheels rather over the white line there. So braking then down to clip the apex on the left hand side there, and DRS wide open and using the rest of the curves for the run to the line. Toro Rosso in Brazil, last one then, braking just as the camera reaches the DHL board on the right hand side there, right down then to clip the curb on the left hand side and clipping it on the right hand side, keeping the DRS opening it as early as you can. Doesn't matter about a bit of grass on the inside there, as it will be fully worn off by the time you reach this next corner. Again on the rev limiter very early there, braking just after 100 meter board on the right hand side there, right down to third gear, get on the throttle as early as you can, clipping all of the curbs all of the way, using quite a bit of my curves then at this point. They're braking at the 50 meter board on the right hand side there, down into fifth gear, a little bit of throttle in between, but then full throttle as soon as you can really. Down into second gear there, clipping the apex nicely, cut the corner a little bit, really shouldn't have done that much, but you can get away with it on that corner. Keeping a nice tight line once again, get on the throttle as you can, bit of DRS between these corners, braking just as you reach, or the camera reaches the curb on the right hand side there. Make sure you don't lock up the brakes, as the braking is very important to keep a nice tight line and get a good run out of this corner. Full throttle and DRS wide open all the way through that corner, braking halfway between the 100 meter boards and 50 meter boards to bounce over the curb nicely and run it out a bit wider than I did there. And using the rest of your curves and DRS wide open for this very long run down to the line then. As we've got a fairly boring run to the line, I will wish you a very happy Christmas, and I thank you ever so much for watching. Bye bye.